All right. Welcome one, welcome all to Off the Rails Sports Podcast. I'm your host, John. And if you could kindly hit that like and subscribe button, it means a lot to us. And I want to start the podcast tonight with kind of mea culpa here. I was talking to brother Scott today, and Scott has been one of the best friends I've ever had. Just a real good guy. Just a really good human being. And we've known each other for 25 years. And we worked together. We did a lot of things together. And Scott said something to me today that really kind of resonated. You know, I do different podcasts, and he said, he wasn't being critical. He was being honest. And I really thought it was amazing. He said, when you do your nightly recap of the day, he goes, it's like you're reading off a teleprompter. There's no energy in it. There's nothing going on. He goes, it's not like your other podcasts. And I listened to a couple of them, and he was absolutely right. I was doing a disservice to people who are actually trying to listen. And Brian and Scott, we're all in this together, and they're giving their time and their energy. And I'm really honestly just doing a half-assed job here at night. And as I listened to it, he was absolutely correct. I might as well be a goddamn robot and antiseptic and sterile and whatever. And the thing we wanted to do when we formed this venture, this podcast, is to be a little more on the outside. Let's be a little more honest. I don't want to just sit there and deal with numbers and analytics and all that stuff. I want to talk about it from the passion of a fan and how he feels about what his team is or isn't doing, how other team played, things like that. Things that you don't hear typically. And I wasn't doing that. I was doing a disservice to anybody listening, anybody who has been listening. And we're growing. It's a process. And I want to tell you something. I apologize to anybody listening because I was doing a half-assed job and I wasn't coming with any energy. And I promise you, I won't do that again. All right, let's get to it. Let's see what happened in the world of sports on Wednesday, May 7th. God dang. Where did it go, right? Oh my gosh, it's just going crazy. All right, let's go to the association. We had my Boston Celtics. Scott was so funny yesterday when we did the podcast. He's like, hey, are you going to wear the Celtic shirt? And I'd forgotten about it. I thought, no big deal. We're going to tie it up 1-1 tonight. No, that just didn't happen. The dreaded New York Knicks are putting it to us in Boston Garden. Both games in Boston Garden, taking a 2-0 lead. Mikal Bridges, steal at the end, sealed a 20-point comeback for the Knicks again in Boston Garden. Look, you live by the sword, you died by the sword. We're a 3-point shooting team. We have a great perimeter. To me, we better pull some games out in New York, obviously, right? Duh, John. No kidding. Yeah, right? But this is the last stand, because if we lose in this round, there is no way they are not going to dismantle this team. We're way over the cap. We're way over the apron. They are not going to be paying $175 million tax for a team that goes out in the second round. They're just not. And if you take Brown and Tatum out of the mix, we have a very old team. Yeah, I know there's Pritchard, things like that. But Horford's old, Drew Holiday. I mean, you go up and down the roster, we got some problems. And you're going to see a huge dismantling of this organization. And the cap is really going to suffocate these teams that are over it. I listen to Bill Simmons and I listen to these other podcasts, and they're like, the cap is going to be so suffocating, and they really do deep dives into it, and they're very good at what they do. I don't really understand it all. I do know this. If you're a good team and you have to start paying your players, eventually you're going to come up against it. You better take that 3 or 4 year run and get there. The Celtics got there last year. This is probably the last year of the glory days. After this, everything's on the table. Yeah, they're not going to trade Jason Tatum. I seriously doubt they're going to trade, Jaylen Brown. But everybody else, good luck, man. Good luck. And I don't even know who's going to take all these guys. All right, let's talk about the OKC Thunder, talking about the other side of the coin of a team that is looking very good in terms of the cap and their roster. I mean, this is the team that literally has two starting fives on their team. I wouldn't be surprised in the offseason to see them take a big swing at Giannis because I think Giannis is going to leave Milwaukee. Why stay in that sinking ship? That's a done. But getting back to it, they lost the first game to Denver. Jokic was just magnificent like he always is. Today they decided to take out a little punishment. I don't know if you've ever seen the videos where the killer whale pulls the baby seal off the beach and throws it out there and they just literally pummel it to death. In Little League, it's called the Mercy Rule. They should have had that tonight in the association. 43-point route, 149-106. OKC scored 87 points in the first half, which tied a record by the Milwaukee Bucks, I believe, in 1978. First home team in the playoffs to win the game two at home. That's kind of an interesting little stat. We will see what happens with Minnesota tomorrow against Golden State. All right, let's head over to the NHL. And Mitch Marner scored the tie-breaking goal. Joseph Wall had 25 saves, and the Maple Leafs went on to beat the Florida Panthers 4-3, and they are up 2-0. You know, the Maple Leafs have historically been that snake-bitten franchise that loses in the first round. Somehow they mitigated their way through it, you know, like the little fish trying to get through all the barracuda. It got through, and now they got a 2-0 lead. We will see what happens. This is the National Hockey League. Make no mistake about it. This series is definitely not over. Florida definitely is going to go home. They're going to refortify. We're going to see. Obviously, Toronto is trying to get a game there. We shall see what happens, but they look magnificent tonight. The other game, we had Mikko Rantanen, and as being a Avalanche fan, I can't understand why we traded this cat, but he went to Carolina, then back to Dallas because, quote unquote, we don't know who's going to sign him in the off season. Nobody leaves. Like if you listen to Scott and Mine's podcast yesterday, we talked about the lack of action by free agents. You don't see like a LeBron or a Juan Soto or Shohei Ohtani. You don't see free agents leave their team. And we kind of surmise is because there's a cap on what a top star can make. You can make 10 million in Edmonton. Well, all you can make anywhere else is 10 million a year or whatever the number is, whatever the top salary is. You can get an 8-year, $64 million contract. That's it. Doesn't matter if you're at home or whatever. And until they have a situation where some team can offer a lot more money because they have cap room, then you're not going to really see any transitional free agent moves, right? So Mikko Rantanen had 3 goals. He had the hat trick tonight. Dallas beat Winnipeg 3-2. Ottinger had 29 magnificent saves. It was a really, really good game, but they just seemed like they were in control. Dallas, they took out the Avalanche, and they just look like they are the team of destiny. I personally think they're going to play the Edmonton Oilers in the next round to get to the Cup final, but we shall see. All right, let's talk about what's going on in the world of baseball. Giancarlo Stanton been on the IL, on the 60-day IL. For the Yankees, he could return by the end of May. He took live batting practice on Tuesday, had 10 pitches. The earliest date he can come off is May 27th. He said he felt well after coming out of the batting practice. We shall see. The Padres, Dylan Cease, on Wednesday night against the Yankees, exited with forearm cramp after his no-hitter was broken up in the 8th. The Yankees won that game 4-3. The Rockies, Chris Bryant, literally about the only player we really know on that dumpster dive of a team, is going to undergo a back procedure, so we'll see what his future is. And Max Scherzer, one of the true warriors in baseball, says his left thumb feels good after pitching live batting practice on Wednesday. I hope he comes back soon. The game is a lot better when you have Max Scherzer going on. And let's talk about what happened in the MLB on Wednesday night. The Guardians beat the Nationals 8-6. Astros took down the Brewers 9-1. The Cardinals are actually playing some really good baseball. They beat the Pirates 5-0. And let's just really talk about where the Pirates are at in this situation. They're 12-26. They're 5-14 away from home. I mean, couldn't the management have put some money into this team in the offseason so we didn't see this? I mean, Paul Skeens can only do so much. you do realize, Pittsburgh, that he only pitches every fifth day, right? All right. We're seeing a lot of really nice series this week. We got the Yankees and the Padres. We got the Giants and the Cubs. And speaking to that, the Giants beat the Cubs 3-1. Mariners beat the Athletics 6-5. The Mariners are playing some really dynamite baseball. They're 22-14, 10-8 on the road, just playing some great baseball. And I bet you this is going to surprise a lot of people. The Athletics actually have a winning record. They're 20-18. I don't think anybody saw that. I think the over-under number for them before the season began was somewhere around 62, 63. Looks like they're in a case really to move past that. The Mets, playing really good baseball, beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 7-1. Dodgers thumped the crap out of the Marlins 10-1. What a shock, right? Talk about the mercy rule. Red Sox beat the Rangers 6-4. Red Sox, just when you think they're going to get a little momentum, hey, whatever. The Phillies beat the Rays 7-0. And we had like I said earlier, the Yankees beat the Padres 4-3, scored 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth, won it in the 10th. And the Reds beat the Braves. Braves just getting so close. They're getting so bloody close. Come on, Eileen. Come on, Eileen. Reds 500, 19-19. The Orioles again lost to the Twins, and at what point do we just call the season on the Orioles? I mean, I'm not one of those guys who says, this is a must win. I'll leave that for ESPN. Every series in the third week is the big series of the year. But there is something really wrong. They are 13-22. I don't know, where do you go with this? It's literally the dumpster fire of all dumpster fires. Also, the Royals won again. They are out of sight. 10-1 in their last 11. They beat the White Sox 2-1. Jesus, man. These guys are firing out. The Tigers beat the Rockies because, hey, everybody beats the Rockies. They won in 10 in Colorado. And finally, we got the Angels. Got a much-needed victory. They're 15-20 over the Blue Jays 5-4. All right. If you could, though, take my apologies. I'm going to put more energy into it. I'm going to quit doing this stuff half-assed. If I'm going to do it, I owe it to Brian, I owe it to Scott, and I owe it to you to do a goddamn good job. Ain't going to happen again. All right. If you could, though, leave some comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me what an a-hole I am. I deserve it. And we will see you soon on Off the Rails.